What's up, guys? Iceman here. So, this guy by the name of Alex, who apparently has another YouTube channel, decided to make this video called Diablo 4 was embarrassed by Path of Exile again. So, I'm going to check this out, and I know that I've been touting a lot of why I think Path of Exile is going to be an amazing game. It looks awesome. They have a lot of... Well, Path of Exile 2, I mean, because the first one I played just a little bit. It was a damn good time, but now I'm kind of holding off for PoE 2. But how does that compare to Diablo 4? Maybe they both have their own fan bases, I don't know. D4 is a bit more casual. Of course, I do have a D4 channel, so I intend to continue making D4 videos here. But I am relatively optimistic for Season 5, and I'm going to be going into that blind as a freaking duck. As mentioned in my previous videos, I'm going to take on the spiritual journey, if you will. No guides. I'm going to play the druid or the sorcerer. I'm not entirely sure yet. But let's see what this guy has to say.
So I really wanted to wait a couple of days before making this video. I know a lot of people ran out and decided to give their hot takes immediately after both GGG and Blizzard showcased what they were working on, but I really wanted to ruminate and think about what actually happened. Because when I saw what Blizzard was doing and what they were actually trying to show, I was incredibly confused. And the thing is, I wasn't confused about the new class with D4 and the expansion. I was confused at how Diablo and the Blizzard team are really trying to present anything that comes along with this game. And that's really where I'm sort of like having a hard time understanding what Blizzard is trying to do and what the Diablo team is trying to do. So let me just try to explain what I mean about this. From the time the actual stream started, not the pre-stream, to when they actually showcased the Spiritborn class, the time frame between that was 28 minutes out of a 1 hour live stream. Now I'm saying it's an hour because I cut out the half-hour pre-stream beforehand. So half the live stream was actually dedicated to the artwork of the Spiritborn and what that class is, and really almost this self-filleting, aggrandizing thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was bored as hell during that Spiritborn reveal / showcasing thing. If you guys want, you can go back and check out that stream. But I mean, I didn't want to fake it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what the hell are we watching? It was like, do we really give a shit about the lore, the magic and shit, the culture and shit? You know, do we really care about that? What I want to do is blast. I want to blast shit with cool skills, and I want to find gear that's good. You know what I mean? And I want there to be tiers of rarity and all that. I want that Diablo experience. I don't really give a shit about this whole mysticism bullshit. You know what I mean? But they just went on and on and on and on. I was like, God damn, I got to skip this. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that. But what do you guys think about that? I mean, did you guys see that reveal thing? Let me know in the comments.
About what they've been working on with D4 and this class. I feel like what they did was try and provide and show you the best reason why they made this class rather than just trying to make the paladin. And that really was the worst way to go about things. If you look at Path of Exile 2, and when they present any class there directly, it is literally in the first minute you understand exactly what is going on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To show you, and it is gameplay immediately of that class. And that's the...
Have you guys seen these Path of Exile trailers for PoE 2? It looks fucking hog. I can't wait to play it. I still don't know if I should play it on this channel or my other channel, my Diablo 2 channel with a few other things that I put on there. But the game looks awesome. But yeah, that is a good point. How PoE, they show you the stuff that you want to see. You know what I mean? We didn't hear any mysticism bullshit. I mean, there wasn't any of that. I don't remember any of that being in this PoE 2 stuff. Just, oh yeah, they're magic and shit and ancient this and that and mysticism and all this shit. You know, it's like, what the hell are we talking about? It's like, I want to blast. I want to see what kind of fucking gear this character's going to have. We didn't even realize what their inventory setup was like. Of course, we end up finally finding out, oh, it's the most basic character integration as possible. You know what I mean? They don't have like extra this or that like what the Barbarian has or the Rogue. It's just another copy-paste character. But I'm not all that... You know, I'm not ecstatic over this whole Spiritborn thing, all right? I'm probably going to try the Sorcerer. I'm probably going to try the Droid. I'm probably going to try the Necromancer, maybe the Barbarian. But let's see what this guy has to say. God
The
damn.
part that's incredibly concerning to me. I feel like a lot of what Blizzard and the Diablo team are doing are more likely just trying to showcase why they're making these decisions, why they're making these classes, why they're doing what they're doing, instead of actually just doing things the player base actually wants. It feels like they're just trying to explain to you why they think they're right, rather than actually doing the thing that the players want in the first place. Because
That's a good
honestly,
point.
looking into this class, it's nothing more than a reskinned monk from Diablo 3 with spirit aspects. And that's really disappointing, actually, because the thing is, they could have really done something different and new if they wanted to go in that direction. Or they could have given everybody what they actually wanted, which was a new twist on the paladin. Maybe even like a Dark Knight or a Death Knight would have been even better than that. But the thing is, they chose not to do that. The fact that the sword and board class is missing from the D4 catalog, and the fact that they're basically doing this like...
Yeah, I was expecting something like a Javazon. Like, you remember Diablo 2 where you had the Lightning Fury skill, just how godly you felt, just throwing the javelin and it just exploding into lightning bolts, and then in some instances you could get it to pierce through things and explode a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. Just how godly that was. But then I started thinking, like, I watched the video Avengers Infinity War for the first time, all right, just like a couple days ago. I've been away from movies for a while, all right? I don't really like all that woke bullshit they put in them, but I was like, I'm just going to entertain myself. I'm going to watch some of this stuff. So I watched Infinity War, right? And I saw the thing with Thor where he had the hammer, it was all imbued with lightning, and he was just jumping around, just pounding to the ground, just lightning and shit everywhere, just a massive AoE effect. I was like, wow. I was like, that'd be like the ideal Diablo character. Something like a Crusader Paladin blend who would like be like Thor, you know what I mean? Like lightning and shit would come from your hammer and have like an AoE effect, but then you could like slam the ground or slam enemies and just explode in lightning and shit. Just how awesome that would be, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the Paladin class that people wanted. Something like that could have been done, but what the fuck is this? I mean, this is like a droid. We already got the nature shit, you know what I mean? We already got the nature shit, and this is like a droid monk from Diablo 3. So it's like, can we do better? But what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. I mean, I want a freaking Thor character, you know what I'm saying?
Like Druid Light
or an Amazon
monk kind of a thing with a witch doctor mixed in really doesn't showcase well at all. And when we talk about showcasing, that's another issue that I'm seeing with this as well. You see, the problem is they started talking about like your basic generators, then your spenders, then your ultimates, and they really didn't go into anything else more deeper than that. They talked about it with, you know, each type of spirit that you have, whether it's the hawk or the gorilla or the centipede and even the jaguar, which all seem incredibly cool, but there was nothing being shown that says, hey, here's a cool way that you can build upon these specific things. Here are skills that you can build upon each specific way. Here's ways that you can combine these sort of spirits and then create these new and exciting types of classes. Now, yes, they did touch on that just a little bit near the end of the stream, and they showcased a really great photo of how you could possibly do that, but they didn't show anything in game or in practice. And that's what really upsets me about this sort of presentation. It was an entire hour of all the developers basically just talking about themselves and what they've done and how they're going to do things, rather than just showcasing the actual character and the gameplay itself. And honestly, the way they showcased it with those very basic skills and just talking about things in a very linear fashion basically showed that it's not going to be an exciting class to play or even fun. To be honest, the best person who showcased that class was Raxentrax when he talked about, look at what this class can do. Look at the centipede. Look at this damage. He had a better presentation and a better showcasing of what that class can actually do in a real live setting, rather than what the developers were talking about during the actual presentation. Everything from this showcase of Diablo 4 was more about the devs, was more about Blizzard, and was more about what they think is right, rather than just showcasing how the class is actually worth playing or getting people excited about it in the first place. The design of the set, miking up people, having conversations, trying to do this fireside chat kind of a deal as if we're investors or employees of Blizzard, rather than just showcasing the
that
actual
was so
gameplay
fucking
of
boring.
the new class.
Excuse my language.
Everything from these weird panning camera angles,
but I could barely even watch it.
Just this giant set behind them,
Like,
changing
God
all
damn,
the
get to the
icons every time they
point.
talked about something. Nothing felt organic. Nothing nothing felt like they cared. Nothing felt like it was going to be something that people wanted to get excited about. And when you compare that to Path of Exile, it's a vastly different scope.
Yeah.
And you can see the vast chasm of
bunch of dorks and shit work on Path of Exile.
and Blizzard and how they are
You know what I mean?
operating their games. Just look at the new league for Path of Exile 1 coming out this week. Everything
like people who
was
actually
showcased
gamed in their
quickly,
past, who
efficiently,
played like
and easily to
Diablo
understand
games,
and
for example,
digest.
or whatever
and it
else.
left you asking more questions and wanting to go into that league itself. They even showcased a new Ascendancy class. In fact, by removing an old one and bringing in a brand new one, people were thinking, okay, this is cool. I have to see this, because it meant an entire rebalancing of major systems in the melee side that were needed in Path of Exile 1.
Can you believe it? They do all that shit for free?
Complex like Path of Exile, to easily provide information to its
You don't even have to
players
buy
is
Path
so
of Exile, it's
ridiculous
free.
when you think about it, because in
And we gotta
Diablo
buy
4,
this
it's a much
fucking
more casual
expansion
friendly
already?
game,
God
but
damn.
the information there is presented
For
to you in a very
what?
convoluted, confusing, full of ums and uhs, kind of away from the actual developers. So it makes it seem like they don't know what they're doing, when in reality, they probably have a pretty good class that's lined up for them. They had a great thing going with Season 4 when they fixed all the loot, where they fixed all the itemization. Now their big issue is trying to add more and new creative ways of actually wanting people to keep playing this game. I made a video that was a pretty hot take that said, Diablo 4 has a serious problem, and we talked about the endgame there. And a lot of people didn't like that video, and they didn't want to hear the harsh truth. I know Diablo 4 is a much more casual game than PoE. I'm not trying to make D4 into PoE. What I would like, though, is to have D4 have a little bit of complexity. It doesn't have to be Path of Exile for me to be happy. What it needs, though, is a good way of actually enticing new players.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with the itemization thing added in Season 4. That actually got me back to the game. I had this channel for a while, and you guys could look back on my videos. There was like a 6, 7, 8 month period where I didn't even post a freaking video on this channel because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep playing D4. I was like, I'm not going to bust my ass making this channel if I'm not even going to play. But then some of you guys ran me up, Iceman, check out Season 4. Iceman, check it out. They did a better job with the things. They got tempering and masterwork and all that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to play it for just a minute. And I wasn't planning on making a video on it. But then I started playing it. I was like, damn. This tempering thing, this masterworking thing, this is some depth to itemization. You know, this is a good time. So I like what they did with that. I don't like how they're making everything more and more accessible. Like now it's going to take, what, an hour to get to level 100? Why the fuck do we even got to get to level 100? Let's just start it at 100 if they're going to do that. You know what I mean? Just start us at level 100 if you're going to do that bullshit. Like it used to be a crown of achievement to level up, but that's just not the case anymore. They're just giving it to everyone for free. But I could deal with that, all right? I could be like, okay, fine. We get a level 100 in an hour, then the game begins. Fine. It's kind of like Diablo 3 now, you know what I mean? Where you just max out and then the game begins. So if they're going to do that, I suppose I could accept that. But what they need to do is have chase items like what Diablo 2 had, where they had the runes that you'd find the runes and they worked as currency because these things were valuable and they had multi-uses, you know what I mean? So you could collect the runes and you could always potentially find them. So as you were playing, even if your character was all decked out, you could always be like, well, maybe I'll find a rune at least, and that'll be fun. But there's nothing like that right now in D4. There's no like little pieces of currency or building blocks for other items that you could potentially find with any character that just help accentuate the moment. You know what I mean? You get that dopamine rush and all that bullshit. So that's just not really here. And making the uber uniques fall more and more and all the items more and more accessible isn't going to get us there either. This needs to be, they need to go back to how Diablo 2 was to an extent and have actual rare items that don't just make your numbers a little higher. Because that's not enough to chase. That's not fun enough to keep us going. You know what I mean? To just find potentially, oh, I'm going to find the ancient version of this item, so the numbers are just a little higher. No, I want there to be things that we can find that are rare that potentially can add like a new thing to your character. Have a aura around them, or have a blast fire out of their fucking eyes. You know what I mean? Even if it's not that powerful, just something interesting. All characters have like an enigma sort of item where they can all have teleport. You know what I mean? That you have to work to get. That not everybody gets on day one. But let's see what else he has to say.
into the ARPG genre and saying, hey, we can then provide you this way of playing without feeling overwhelmed or anything like that, but still give them the ability to have some depth and character into this game. What PoE 2 does is they show you one skill, then they show you another skill and how those two skills can interchange or interact with each other. Then they start adding and compiling on top of that. So instead of you saying, oh, that's all that it does, what you're looking at is, these are some really wild things of what I can think of already on how I would like this skill to work or how I would like it to perform. And that's the part that is missing from Diablo 4. There's no real theory crafting besides the Paragon board, which is really just pick resistances, pick HP, and go for like a main node. It's all just this oversimplified.
You guys gotta stop copy and pasting builds. I'm telling you, go into it blind. All right, that you might
Green arrow
see.
Good,
No
red arrow
guides.
bad, and then move from there. Which, unfortunately, if you're going to have that kind of mechanic in the game, and you're not going to have that complexity, then the gameplay itself has to be fun, and the loop has to be good. And we didn't get a good gameplay loop until Season 4, and that's the more disheartening thing about this. D4 could be a great game. It could be a great catalyst and a good entry point for people to get into the ARPG genre and then move into things like Last Epoch to be a little bit more complex. And then after Last Epoch, they could move into Path of Exile or whatever else comes out in between. Because there's so many different kinds of ways to satiate players in the ARPG genre that really aren't being taken care of. And the fact that the new PoE League was announced just a little bit after the new character class being revealed for D4, people were saying D4 bad again. Because the thing is, Path of Exile doesn't just do one little thing. They completely change the game consistently, almost every 6 months. And the thing is, that's what people are looking for. They want D4 to feel fresh and new and different. And that's kind of what we were promised. Basically, like, bring D2 back into the new era with a new twist. But we didn't get that.
Lazy ass motherfuckers
with a fresh coat of paint. Some people like that. That's
this
great,
is a big
but
company.
I
You know what I mean?
Longevity for what this
how
game
can they not
needs and how
compete
it
with
really
grinding your
provides
games? This is
a player
bullshit.
base that wants new
Where's all
things,
this
that
money and
wants
resources
a
going?
deeper mechanic. It's not going to do that.
Damn.
It's really going to be something that people play for about a week or two and then drop off, while Last Epoch and PoE have better cycles and seasons. Now, I know I've trashed D4 a lot in this video. That really isn't my intention. What I want is for Diablo 4 to be a better game than it is right now. What I want is for D4 to have just a little bit of depth that could really bring players into a genre they didn't actually think about before. And to have that small semblance of here's how we're going to present our information to you the right way so you can get excited about these classes, expansions, and seasons. And not have just developers sitting in a chair explaining things in the most boring, monotone way. It feels like this is more of a job than passion, and you can see the passion in Path of Exile, and you can see the job in Diablo. And it's a damn shame. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.
Yeah, these people
Hopefully
didn't even play the damn game.
Mad about this video, because apparently this is where a lot of my hot takes live, so I definitely want to see what you guys have to say. Now, if you like this kind of content, you want...
Did they hire freaking furries to make this game, or what's going on here? Have they even played Diablo before? But yeah, I'm going to play Season 5, all right? Be making videos on that, Spiritual Journey, this, that, and the third. I think it's going to be everything Season 4 was, but better. And I enjoyed Season 4, but yeah, they have a long ways to go. I mean, this is just unfucking believable how grinding your games, they do that shit. They don't even charge you for the game, you know what I mean? And why the hell does it have 100 times more content for free than an expansion that we have to pay for? Can someone explain it to me? God damn. But nonetheless, like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, hit the bell so you're notified next time I post a video, become a patron if you want to support your old dog, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace be with you.